Hey everyone, Charles here with a quick update. Wanted just to mention that I'm working on a new service. It's called Validate Lean. The idea here is to help founders to be able to validate their SaaS ideas before spending a ton of time and money to build out their product. Because what we don't want at the end of the day, the worst thing we can do is to spend our time, money, and effort building stuff that people don't want. So my goal here is to help avoid that. This is really geared towards, I would say, three different types of founders. First is like early stage builders. This is your indie hackers, solo founders, people working on nights and weekends. They still have a day job. It's really to help them validate their ideas. The second is around teams. People are looking to build teams. They want to be able to validate their product before they build the team, because building teams are time intensive and quite expensive. So you want to make sure that your product idea has been validated before you spend the time there. And then people really that are kind of working in stealth. This is mainly for people that have full-time day jobs and maybe they're not really able to publicly talk about what they're working on because they have a fear that their job will be cut or those type of things. So just to give you an example of like the teams part. So I'm probably I've built many products over the years. We'll talk more about that later. The worst case scenario I had is, I built a team of 6. We spent about 18 months building something that nobody wanted. So in this case, I spent a ton of money and time. Money, oh well. The time part, I can't get back 18 months. So if I would have simply have gone through a validation process like this early on, I would have known, hey, this isn't a problem that people care about. And then I could have moved on to something and I could have found something that was more valuable. So that's the main goal here. Now, really, what do you get? So we don't focus on building features. We focus on validating. Are there people in the market that want what you're building? And are they willing to raise their hand and say, yes, I'm interested in this? That's what we're really going for here. And if they're not, we want to know that just as well, because then we can move on to something that it could potentially be more interesting for you to work on. So if we work through this, what do you get? You get a high converting landing page. We work through together to come up with the sales copy and the positioning. We then work on, what is the strategy for outreach? Because while a lot of people like to default to, hey, we're just going to run ads. The reality is, your first is from 0 to 100 users. A lot of it is just reaching out to people in direct messages, those type of things to actually get them to sign up for the product and try it out. There's different ways that we can look at making that shorter, but it's not just by going to ads. That's usually the least performing, most expensive option. And then we want to be able to go through and we're actually going to build a validation framework that you can use time and time again. So part of this process, I'm going to make this available to you, and then you test out this idea. If it doesn't work, we can just go through it again with another product idea. You'll have all the tools that you need to build it to continue going through this process. So a very high level of transparency there in terms of why we do what we do and how do we do it. And then around building out a personalized roadmap in terms of what to do, what are the next steps to get the product out there, get people using it, and kind of how it works. A lot of this is async. There's an optional for people that don't want to have a call. They can skip it, but generally there's a kickoff call. We kind of go through, we talk about the initial steps. And then from there, a lot of it's async. So it's through chat messages, it's through email, through videos. And all of these are for example, right now I'm recording a Loom video. It's directly for you. It works the same way. In this case, I can go through the contents, give you feedback, kind of what the next step is, and you can go back and reference it multiple times. So it works out pretty good that way. It's private and discreet, so you don't have to post publicly online. You're able to stay directly in control of your idea and how and when you want to make it public. Later down the road, after you've already built it out, it's already been validated, you have customers, that's a pretty good time. The goal here is to help save the 3 to 6 months of just guesswork of building a product before you make sure you have customers. And then it only takes 7 days. So kind of a timeline here that we're looking at is the first day is really around session, clarifying like what it is that your target user, what is the problem, what is the core hook for those type of customers. Days 2 and 3s, 2 and 3 is around landing pages and copy. Put together copy for you, give you feedback, those type of things. Day 4 to 6, that's really around outreach, getting user feedback, collecting feedback. This is from real people. And then day 7 is kind of putting together, what is the plan looking, going forward? Is it go or don't go? Is a product idea validated, or do people not care? By the 7th day, you know what that looks like. And kind of why this works is, but the default approach by most founders is, at least that I've talked to, is they have an idea. They're like, I want to build this. They jump in, they start building. They don't want to talk to customers. They want to build their product. And we change that because we start by talking to people, and we validate by talking and getting direct signals from people that are in the market, your target, your ideal customer profile, your ICP, for example, is, who it is that you're targeting for the product. So we go an opposite approach. And after that, then we make sense, and then it makes sense to, hey, do we build this or we don't build it? It takes 7 days, but the idea here is really around getting signal. So signal is getting people that you're targeting to be willing to put their hand up and say, yes, I'm interested in this. To give kind of an example of this that I heard recently is, if you're targeting, diabetes patients, it's like, where do you go to find them? It's very difficult. And the idea here is you try to find some way that you can get them to raise their hand and say, hey, listen, I have this problem, I have this issue, I want some help. It's way easier. But the only way you do that is getting your target prospect to be able to actually give you some signal that they're part of the group and interested in the product. So that's what we do here. So kind of before the sprint, some of the challenges is you're not really sure if the idea is worth doing it. If you have an unlaunched product idea or unlaunched product, you have a fear of wasting time. And just there's a lot of steps that we're not sure about. And by the end of this process, we actually put together kind of like it's real user feedback. There's a live landing page with an outreach strategy of how to get customers. You have a signal from those potential customers to be able to let you know, hey, I'm interested in this. And then it's just a real idea around like what does the traction, the roadmap look like to be able to kind of push it forward. And this is highly personalized to you. The pricing on this, I've priced it very low. It's at $297. It's basically a one payment. You set up a call and we get going right from there. So it's 1 week. It's fully async except for the first optional kickoff call. You have documentation via Loom as well, like Loom videos as well as Notion. It's all personalized directly for you. There's no public posting. If you look at it, like it's done in 7 days, so like it's very quick turnaround. If you're not sure, you can go ahead and just drop me. I left my email here. You can go ahead and drop me a message. I'm more than happy to chat with you about it. If you're still working full time, like it's perfect for you because like I've designed this in a way that's 1 to 2 hours a day. There's no extra calls or anything like that. It's all based on your time. It's just, it allows us to move quickly and push forward. I give 100%, success guarantee. So if you're unhappy for any reason, like a full refund. A little bit about me. I mentioned this early on. Like I've been building companies since the 90s. So I've built companies in, 11 companies in total over 3 different countries. And just gone through the reps. I've done the work. If you look at kind of like some of the FAQs around this, it's like if you don't have a product yet, but you have an idea, great. That's a perfect place to start. You just have to be able to identify, together like who is the target customer, what is the messaging, these type of things. But you don't actually have to have a product from day one. Still working full time, again, like it's perfect for you because we've been able to really engineer this around 1 to 2 hours a day. If in terms of being anonymous for people that don't want to be public about building a product, like completely okay. And again, it's a refundable yes. So if this sounds interesting to you, go ahead and sign up. We can kick off and get the sprint going for you. If you have questions, feel free to reach out. This is not a hard sales pitch. I'm also interested for your feedback. So if you have questions or ideas, feel free to hit me up. Look forward to kind of working through and helping to validate your idea. Take care.